Hello and welcome to my Digital Story 7. Today I'm going to talk about virtual worlds. This was an interesting topic to me because I actually know nothing about virtual worlds. I've heard about Minecraft from students and children of friends of mine, but I've never played it and I've never been one to play a lot of games. I just, even as a kid, I didn't really like video games. So I learned a lot from this, but they feel like there's still a lot for me to learn. In our readings, virtual worlds were within the category of having an online three-dimensional environment, avatars that players could pick out, real-time interactivity, 24-hour accessibility, required persistence, and created a social space for students. Could be played by multiple players, and the players could control their own appearance and the appearance of the world. Virtual worlds can provide exposure to the real world through a virtual one, and the interactiveness of three-dimensional virtual worlds, especially with language learners, is crucial and helps with communication, linguistics, cognition, affection, and collaboration. For the questions that we were supposed to answer, for the first one, are you familiar with Minecraft? I am familiar with what Minecraft is based on what my students and children of my friends have told me about it. I've had a lot that they loved Minecraft and that's what they wanted to talk to me about. So I understand it from that perspective of an outsider just being told about it, but I've never played it myself. It was easy to download and the instructions were helpful, but again, I'm never been somebody that played a lot of games except for card games. So figuring out how to play it was hard for me and I wasn't able to really find any resources. But I was able to explore it. It wasn't something I was super interested in just because it's completely outside of my comfort zone and what I'm used to. But I see how it could be really interesting with students and for students. For the lesson plans, I tried to look through all of them because wanted to look through all the lesson plans because I was so unfamiliar with Minecraft, but the links weren't working for me, so I wasn't able to look through the ones that were in our post lecture, but I was able to look through some lesson plans on ancient history, like ancient civilizations, through my own research. And I thought they were interesting. They were cool to see how these teachers were incorporating a virtual world and this use of technology into their social studies classrooms with their middle school students. And I see how it could be helpful with any age group. It wouldn't have to be middle school, but that's just the group that was working on it for the lesson plans that I found. And then I found some that incorporated it with science and like biomes and reefs and different kinds of habitats. So I think that would be really cool for students too, to be able to use this virtual world to like within a project. I come from a project-based background, so in teaching, and so I could see using it as a culminating project, so having students use the virtual world to show their understanding of like a habitat or a biome or an ancient civilization. And then I don't know about any other virtual worlds, so I stuck with Minecraft just because I didn't want to get too overwhelmed and feel like I was confusing different bits of information. But I did look into how to use Minecraft in the classroom. For question 5, how and 6, how does a virtual world align with our prior models for educational technology, and how might it align with our previous unit on motivation? I think a virtual world aligns with our prior models for educational technology by providing students with an engaging tool to use to learn the content or to show what they have learned. And I think it's a great way to teach students about the real world, but in a safe virtual environment. And then it's really engaging. Students like games, they like hands-on activities, and the majority of students that I've met love something to do with technology. So if you tell them like, "Hey, we're gonna like play this game on our computers, but it's educational," a lot of them will be a lot more motivated. And I think it reduces the cognitive load for students and reduces the stress, especially for language learning students or students that are struggling with with a concept that they're being taught. I think it helps reduce the stress and makes it a more fun, engaging, approachable environment, which then increases their chances for learning and retention. Coming up with a lesson plan using a virtual world was hard for me because I'm so unfamiliar with them. But through my research, I got really interested in the concept of using virtual worlds to learn about ancient Egypt. So a lot of the lesson plans that I found were specific to ancient Egypt. And so I was thinking about how you could adapt that to ancient civilizations in general. My last year of teaching before I moved to Florida and started at UF, I was a sixth grade teacher. And it was a self contained classroom, actually in an elementary school, not a middle school. So I taught all the subjects. And for social studies, we were talking about ancient civilizations. And at the end, we did a culminating project about all ancient civilizations and creating our own civilization. So, I was thinking how a virtual world would be a really cool application within this culminating project, which I didn't do because I didn't know about it at the time and how to incorporate it. But I think if I was doing it again, this is something I would add. So students would, throughout the school year, be learning about ancient civilizations and what makes a civilization, and what were the different technological advances during each civilization's time and how did it impact life. So students would create their own civilization. They would need to name it and talk about the following would be need to be included: geography, social structure, government, is there religion, or what, and if there is, what impact does it play in the lives of the people? What is the language? What laws are there? And then what technology is being used? And this technology would then tie into like simple machines from science. And then what I would do after students created their own civilization, I would have them create it in a virtual world so they could use something like Minecraft and create a three-dimensional version of their civilization. So they would show what the geography actually looked like. They would show what the buildings looked like, show what the technology is, and then be able to have students interact with each other and as they played the game to show like what social structures and government and religion and laws there were. And then students could also do a write-up at the end, or create like a PowerPoint presentation to share a little bit more detail of some of the aspects that are harder to show on a virtual world, like language and religion. Um, so I think that would be an interesting way to incorporate virtual worlds into a culminating project, especially with middle schoolers and helping them stay motivated at the end of the school year.